Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Meaningful Conversations with yours truly, Singinlisa. I'm excited that you're here, and of course, you know this is the place where you get impact, motivation, and we have purpose right here for you to take away so that you can share more in your life to enhance what you already are doing to make a difference. And so you see before me a gentleman. That's right. This is so exciting because it is the month of June that we're acknowledging. And of course, you know, in the month of June, we've got Father's Day. We've also got Juneteenth and so many other empowering, situations that go on that help us to recognize the strong men in our lives. So I definitely didn't want to take the Women's History Month and all of the celebrating and leave out the men. We couldn't do that. So, of course, before you, we have Darren Lee Jr. He is from his podcast, is the WeakLee Podcast, and I'm so excited to talk to him and talk about all that he's been doing because he's a young man, y'all. He's got energy and he's got a lot to share. So I'm excited about that, and I want to say welcome, Darren. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Happy to be a part of it.
All right. Well, I'm excited because, you know, I've been talking to women for the last few months, and I know people are probably like, where are the men? Where are the men? So I definitely wasn't leaving the men out, but we wanted to really just highlight because I'm sure, you know, women just do so many, positive and wonderful things that we want to be sure that we acknowledge, you know, a lot of the hard work, but we couldn't have women without men. And so we're excited, you know, that you're here with us because you have, I love the name of your podcast, the WeakLee Podcast, especially for those who can see that it is not spelled the way that it sounds, right? So give us a little bit about yourself and how did you come up with the name of your podcast?
Well, I'm Darren Lee Jr., born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm 33 years old. And this is just a podcast that I started just randomly, honestly. I had a lot of time on my hands and just always having conversations with my family, my friends. And I was like, through all these conversations we be having, why not record it? So that's why I just started on the WeakLee Podcast. And I named it WeakLee because I know I'm going to be dropping an episode every week, but I didn't want to name it WeekLy. And I was like, no, that's too normal. Yeah. So I did weak, just with everybody showing strength through their weakness. So I named it WEAK with my last name, LE.
I love it. Oh, that's so clever. And it really causes people to pay attention and think because that's what I've been doing. I said, oh, I like that. I caught that. Yeah. And you really, you know, that is such it does so much, not just to be creative in the name, but even what you said about, you know, everybody's building strength from their weakness. I think that is such an important element that you know about already because many people just all focus on being strong. Wanting to be strong and, you know, especially men, I think maybe that's a myth or it's been something that you've grown up with where you just think that you can't show weakness because that means you're not being a strong man.
Exactly.
And so did you grow up thinking that?
Yes. Grew up from a strong black man. So yeah, exactly how it's always been.
Yeah. And then men don't cry, right?
Right.
So what have you learned about that?
I learned that over time it really is okay to cry. Because just because you don't see a man cry don't mean they're not really crying. And that's just what it is.
Right. So we might not see you cry, but the men who think they're not, you know, strong and whatnot, they really are behind the scenes saying, I need help.
Right, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you know, you're 33, as you said, and so I know you've seen a few things in this world, and being able to acknowledge, that, strength actually does come from weakness is a real big accomplishment. It's a real big step that a lot of people who are older than you have not even discovered yet, because they've gotten stuck on what, was in the past and what they grew up with and what tradition sort of identifies as the definition of what true manhood is. So as you've grown up, what else did you think you should do as a man, but now you've discovered that there's a different way that can be done?
Just a whole point of communication and honesty. Like, that's just really like a lot of things that my dad taught me too. Just always being a man of your word, do what you say you're gonna do, and just be completely honest. Because we like to stretch the truth, and when we stretch the truth, that's when everything have be all chaotic.
Yeah, especially with women, right?
And being completely honest. Honest in what you want, honest what you're looking for, honest where you're going. Don't speak about it too much, but the people you speak about it with, make sure they know.
Yeah, I like that. Shout out to Dad, right? And
right.
Because, and I think that's an important point, because many of the issues that happen with men is the fact that there was not a man that helped them along the way to give them guidance, give them advice. And so that missing link, do you think really shows the difference in how men think today?
Oh, yes, definitely. Because men nowadays are more so scared to have uncomfortable conversations. They like to stray away from it. But the more you have it, the more you have a better understanding of who you are and like I said, where you're going.
Yeah. And I think that you benefit really from having your dad, or a father figure or a man just sort of share his experiences, so that you don't feel like, you're the only person going through it, or you're an alien, and this is weird, and there's no truth to what it is you're experiencing. So I think that connection really does help to let you know that you're on the right track, and that it is awkward. You don't have all the answers, but that you do have to go through this phase so that you work things out as you're learning to become the person that you were created to be, and that who you want to be.
Exactly.
With your characteristics. And so now when you are having this sort of, opportunity with your dad to get that information, how is it with your friends? Because sometimes that's an awkward situation when you have a father in your home, maybe your friends don't, or they don't have the same kind that you have. How do you navigate that relationship?
And I think it was episode 3 of my podcast. I did an interview with one of my friends named Ian. Like, he was raised without his dad, and that was just a good conversation that me and him had on my podcast. And then I also did one with my best friend Bryson. I think that was with Ian it was the 5th episode. With Bryson it was the 4th.
Okay.
And with Bryson was talking about just friendship. Now, he had his dad in his life, and just how it was very much similar. And then with Ian, it's just about how much it was different. But at the same time, the fact that he's a father now, he sees what he needs to do that his dad didn't do. So it's like it all comes. Yes. It's all about improving on how you was raised, one different.
Yeah, that's another element. Just having that next generation, and then all of a sudden, all the lights come on when you become a father. So then you say, "Oh, now I know what you're talking about."
Exactly.
It all makes sense a little bit more, because I can see, and then you start, then you get to that point where you apologize and for giving them all that trouble, right?
Exactly.
So now you said your friend, which one was it that didn't grow up with his father?
His name is Ian. It was on episode 5, I believe.
Okay. And so how different was that, some of the things that he shared?
Just a lot of things we talk about it'd be similar things, but at the same time, it's like he had to learn on his own. He had to do it from experiences, some wrong things, and just being raised with just his mom and his sister. It was just totally different than me being raised with my dad and my mom, and then having a little brother watching me.
Yeah. Different perspective altogether.
Exactly.
But, do you think that he mention that he felt, I guess, more appreciative because he had to kind of have it the hard way or just a little differently?
Yeah, it was more so about appreciating the people who really helped him become where he's at.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because it is different. And
Mhm.
like I said, through the conversation that we always had and talked about, is all of us really somewhat want the same things, but it's just different ways of getting them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point. A lot of us are not, any different really, but
Right.
we're made differently, which means we're going to do things differently, even though they're the same things. But we just kind of arrive at the same destination at a different, pace, a different way, and through different experiences, different roads. But sometimes those roads all lead to the same final destination.
Right.
So that's awesome. And now, as you have reflected on your podcast and having conversations, what have you noticed that you share when it comes to being raised with a family that you can really appreciate, as you've learned about other people's experiences?
Just the whole dynamic of being raised around love. And that's just really what it is. Because a lot of people, we do the wrong things trying to find love. It's more difficult than just always being raised in it.
Yeah.
And the thought process just being different.
Yeah. Do you think that there is a level of safeness and security that you have
Oh,
having
yes.
a family differently than somebody else?
Yes. I've
Yeah.
seen that from relationships, seen it with friends, more so definitely relationships.
Yeah.
Dealing with different people and how they was raised, it all shows.
Yeah. So now when you say relationships, is that with either female or male?
I'll say more so female, like romantic relationships.
Okay.
So it's just like different perspectives in what you see from things they've been through.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't be really wanting to really pay attention to it and see like, okay, this was something that really affected me. A lot of people may not believe that it did, but it really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now that's a different perspective as well when you are talking to the young ladies and they also didn't grow up with a father or
Mm-hmm.
or a mother was missing. So do you see differences with those relationships or those conversations where they didn't have a father, so their behavior is a little different or their expectations are different?
Yeah, definitely. But it's also can be the same thing being raised with your parents as well. Because if you still don't feel that sense of security and safeness within your parents, it could still be a cause for a problem too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's a different dynamic, for young ladies, especially when it comes to that security issue. Because, I guess one of the traditions is that girls are, safer because they have a father. So, they can always run, to daddy to help out.
Right.
But then, there's the dynamic of the mom because, now did you have that situation where there were some things you ran to your dad and some things you ran to your mom about?
Definitely. 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 Anything that I knew was a little, anything that I asked for was more on the rougher side, I asked my mom.
Mhm.
Anything that was easier, okay, yeah, go ahead. I asked my dad. Yeah, that's how it was.
Okay, now I was thinking the opposite. I thought you would go to your dad because he can handle the tough stuff or
Uh,
difficult situation, but then mom would be like, "Well,
I'll say, for example, just like I'd be like, I could go out somewhere, I
okay,
ask my dad.
okay,
I'd be like, to my mom back, well, why you gotta go there? Like, other stuff. Like, nah, I don't want to hear that, so I'm asking my dad.
okay." So mom had
Yeah,
questions, right?
right,
Mom needed to know who, what time, where.
exactly.
Tell me about their family.
All that. My dad used to say was be safe.
Yeah,
I'd be like, all right, bye.
yeah. Now some people kind of have, an issue with that. I
Yeah,
think they think, guys just have it easier because I don't know if it's a part of the toughness that is supposed to come out of that experience, or the girls are more protected. It's not a bad thing,
right.
but do you think that it should be that way? That girls are just like more protected, and guys are like just if you scrape your knee, we'll give you a band-aid.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Cause I'm also, I think so. It is too. Just being raised, just like with fathers, we gotta be tough, and it's just like me being a father now and having conversations with my friends, just like as a father, I just want to make sure that you know that life is not easy.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna baby you, cause life not gonna baby you. But
Yeah.
with women, you know, most so they don't be thinking about that. They be like, "Oh, that's my baby. No, I don't want my baby doing that."
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they really do need to kind of fall off the bike, get back up,
exactly.
wipe the tears real quick, and
Right. Don't cry. You all right. You ain't break your legs, so you all
it's
right.
not as bad as it could be. So let's just keep it going, keep it going.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I like that. It does make a difference, and I think it really makes a difference for girls as well. We know that, when we hear that, it's wonderful to be loved on and to be protected, but I think there's a balance with both of it, both sides for both
Mm.
males and females, boys and girls, because if you're kind of, you know, wallowing too much into the tears and the softness or the issue, that might be something that the girls need to work on, because we can talk about a situation and we can keep going and keep going and keep going.
Right.
And so I know we kind of don't let some things go, and we can give you like your mom wanted to know all the details. Girls are really detailed. And so I don't know if you're familiar with this book title that called, we would say, what is it? Men are from Mars and girls are from Venus.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think that book really spoke about the differences between males and females, and just the big difference, the hard, the soft, all of that.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, with us, we just get straight to the point with our conversation.
I know. Yeah, I see it. I see it in brothers, cousins. It's like, I want to look at this shoe and examine it and see if it's the best color, the best one.
Right.
And they're just like, that's the one I want. I don't want to look at it anymore.
Exactly.
The shopping experience for y'all is pretty quick. For us, it's like it's an adventure.
That's why I do not go shopping with women at all. 'Cause y'all gotta walk around, touch this, touch that. Oh, let me see about this. Nah, I know what I'm getting, and I'm getting out of here.
That's the worst part, right? So
Right.
are you the one, if you do get stuck? Now, did you go shopping with your mom? And what was that like for you?
Honestly, my mom didn't do a lot of shopping,
Okay.
but the time that she did, we went and got what we had to get and got out of there. So I
Okay.
appreciate her for that.
Yeah. Mom already understood that by then, right?
Yeah,
Like, okay, let's
exactly.
not
She was
drag.
raised all men. She was into all men.
Well, she knew. She
Yeah,
already
exactly.
she had an advantage. But I tell you, you can see the agony, I guess, in some of the men, kind of holding the purses, holding the bags.
Right. And they
Just
be
kind of
looking
sitting
aggravated,
there.
like, I wish she hurry up.
It's probably a good thing that we have cell phones to some point, because at least there's something they can look at, right?
Yeah, occupy your time.
Yeah, I love it. Well, as we kind of learn about each other, and you grow up, and like you said, you've learned all these characteristics and being able to figure out who to go to and kind of where you have your best answer from. It's such a blessing that, when you have that balance of having mother and father, and then being able to have the conversation like you are with your friends who just had one or the other, really does help give you a different perspective on life and on people. And so, where were your thoughts with your friends? Maybe you want to share. When we did kind of go through these last few years, we've had a pandemic that we've
Hmm.
experienced before. We've had a lot of racial tension, and I know growing up as a boy, one of the other things that I've learned and heard a lot about is that men would specifically, or mothers, teach you certain things to do. And as a female, I didn't know this as much as I've learned over the last years, where you were told certain things to do when it came to the police. You were told
Hmm.
certain things to do when you were out, so that you could make it back home. Did you have that conversation growing up?
Yes,
What was
definitely.
that like? What was that
It
like?
was it was very much simple. Cause
Okay.
my dad, it was just like, just making sure you always be respectful. Don't seem like you have a hidden agenda. Don't be awkward. Just make it short and simple and sweet, and then everything work out.
Hmm. Now, did you actually have any experiences where you had to put that to use?
Yeah, I got pulled up a few times speeding.
Uh,
Yeah,
so it was legitimate.
it was legitimate.
Okay. But everything worked out, took care of
Yeah,
your responsibilities, huh?
yeah. It was
Yeah,
all simple. Yeah.
good. That's good.
Wasn't nothing
Hmm.
too much.
Yeah.
Cause I don't be with all that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you made a good point that what they told you is what you did, and it worked
Mm.
out. What do you think is going on with some of the fellas that just sort of make it drag it out, or it just gets beyond what it really needs to be? Whether it's a speeding ticket or whether you just pulled over just for questioning, or
Right.
if it is a racial profiling issue, what do you think happens in those moments where it seems to end up chaotic and even in death?
I really think all of it is about misunderstandings, honestly. And I think a lot of police really, the fact of they don't understand where certain people come from, it frightens them.
Mm.
They feel like they're being provoked or attacked and they have to defend themselves because they don't know.
Mm.
Especially like with a lot of the racial things that goes on, it's like the fact of a lot of police not from or don't understand where we come from and who we are, they automatically feel like they need to defend themselves. And I really just feel like that's really just what it is.
Hmm. Do you think that in terms of the police that more training is necessary because everybody is different and comes from
Oh,
different
definitely.
backgrounds?
Definitely.
Okay.
But it's just like showing grace. People don't really show grace to people. They
Mm.
automatically think that, oh, they something going on with them. They're a target. So let
Yeah.
me see what's going on. Instead of really just, like I said, just giving people grace.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
understand, like, not everybody is a criminal. Not
Yeah.
everybody out to do bad. Certain situations we are put in makes us do bad things, but not everybody is a criminal.
So innocent before guilty.
Exactly.
Yeah. Instead of the other way around.
But it's guilty before innocent.
A lot of times.
Guilty, you gotta prove that you're innocent.
Right, right. Yeah, that's an important point because I know many people have their opinions and their, perspectives about what it is. And, just from our history, people automatically think that this is intentional, is still going
Hmm.
on. It's a target, and a lot of truth may be in all of that in some way, but it does not mean that that's the case in your particular situation.
Exactly.
I think that's really significant, like you said, realizing that this is not about our entire, race. It's just because you got pulled over, you know, and
Exactly.
it could just be as small as you did something, maybe it was your broken light. Maybe something did come up that needs to be discussed. But there's two sides to the story, and then other people say, and then the truth. So there's always two sides to it that needs to be respected and looked at. But I guess a lot happens in those minutes, in those moments,
Hmm.
because you don't have like 15 minutes to have a conversation and figure out, well, I think I like you, or I think you're.
Exactly.
This is happening in minutes, really seconds, that a police officer has to decide what is going on, and
Hmm.
the person being pulled over has to decide, what do I do? So,
Exactly.
when you talk to your friends, or if you have something to share along those lines, what types of advice do you give to each other when it comes to that situation? Maybe somebody, kind of struggled with doing it the way you do it.
Right. It's just like, don't take everything personally.
Hmm.
Don't, like, everybody's always on edge, especially in New Orleans. Just like, what's wrong? Like, you don't gotta be like that. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I have a friend named Tyrone. He always said, like, you always want to calm everybody down. Like, nobody want to be calm all the time. Like, bruh, like, it pays off just being calm.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Ain't
Yeah.
nothing. Ain't nothing that serious. It's
Right.
okay.
Yeah. And so since he said that, why do you think people are angry all the time? Why would he? That's interesting that he would say we don't want to be calm.
Yeah.
Why would you select that over being peaceful and calm and relaxed?
I just realized over time that people just prefer to be mad. It's
Mm.
unfortunate, but
Yeah.
it's like people don't like being happy for some reason. I don't know why. Like, you don't know what they be going through in their life. They just want to hold grudges and hold it on their shoulders. We
Yeah.
don't know why.
And do you think that maybe a part of it comes from their upbringing?
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
a lot
Definitely.
of our experiences and how we react to things, it really comes from what we know, what we've learned, what
Yeah,
we,
that's where it all starts from.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and, and a lot of people may want to get it out, just don't know how to.
Yeah.
That's a big problem too.
Yeah. Well, that would benefit not only the police officers, but just the everyday person. So how do you feel about this new term, not new term, but what we've heard so much in the last few years when it comes to therapy? At one point that was, I'm not seeing a psychiatrist, there was taboo about that. How do you feel about therapy?
I mean, if you don't want to have the conversation with people around you who you respect and who you know going to keep it with you and them, not going to judge you about it, then yeah, maybe you should talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't want to share who they really are with people who they love.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they'll look at them different, judge them. So, yeah, ain't nothing wrong with you seeking professional help with somebody that don't know you.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times, even without a professional, we find it easier maybe to speak to people that we don't know because there's no investment. There's no something like you said, we're going to feel like, man, what do they think about me? That's my family. I got to see them at the next function. And, so somebody that doesn't.
You don't know it, whatever you'll say, they may take personal or feel a way about it.
Right.
Yeah, so sometimes it is good.
That's good. That's good. Well, as we are in the month of June and we acknowledge Juneteenth and these types of celebrations, is that something that you are excited about, or do you participate in?
No, I don't really participate in Juneteenth. I really wondered just like how it just started really just coming about like this. It kind of shocked me, but I like it. I pay attention to it, but I just haven't done anything with it yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think that a lot of what I see in the last few years, really in many years, but a lot of the years that we've seen, just a lot of empowerment.
It's coming out a lot more.
Yeah, a lot of encouragement. I think people like, maybe your friend that doesn't want to be calm, he could, benefit from this because a lot of people are really choosing to be more positive and really appreciate, I would say, the plus side of all the things that we've been through that we bring to the table. There's a lot that has happened that is negative. We all know that. We acknowledge it. We're not dismissing it. We're not ignoring it. But what about the positive stuff? What about all of the inventions, all of the, creations? We have such a large, pool of contributions to what we enjoy today, what everybody enjoys in life. Even, especially, the red light, to the peanut, to so many things that are, contributions from our heritage. And why not celebrate that and recognize that we're not ignoring the pain and the struggle, but can there be a balance? Do you think there can be a balance and an appreciation or recognition of all of it in its proper place?
Oh yes, definitely. But I think it's more so just the fact of it's easier for people to go towards negative things than positive things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah. But we really need to praise more of the positive things that goes on with us than the negative things.
Yeah.
But the positive things always get overlooked.
Right. We grew up learning that. When you look at the news, there's so much negativity that there's like a half a second of somebody accomplishing a degree or accomplishing something fantastic. And, that never gets as much attention as all the negative news that goes on. Right. So it just gets overshadowed. So I love that, that you're all for that. And so now, do you have special Father's Day traditions or celebrations that you have to do every year?
No, I just mainly just get my boys and then we'll make our rounds. Probably go with my dad's people.
Okay.
Yeah, enjoy them.
And so now you said you are a father. Are you you're a girl dad or a boy dad?
No, I have 2 boys.
2 boys.
Yeah, 6 and 2.
Okay. So what have you done when it comes to Father's Day or just traditions as now that you're a father? What have you done that you can claim as your family tradition with your kids?
Yeah, just making sure that I cook. Just making sure I cook.
Oh.
Cook all the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
they love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you bring them in the kitchen with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had my oldest, Drew. I actually have a picture where I was on the grill and he on his little small grill next to me.
I love it.
Yeah,
That is so important. That he's going to remember that. And I bet he wants to do it all the time.
all the time.
Yeah, that's so important. So, did you have moments like that when you were growing up where you said,
Yes.
when you saw your dad doing something and you said, I want to do that?
Uh,
Yeah. What was one of those moments? Do you remember?
I'll say cooking again because my
Oh,
dad does most of the cooking. It's
oh,
like cooking, playing basketball, washing cars, all that.
all of that.
And
Okay.
unfortunately, cutting grass. I hate cutting grass now because of him.
Oh, no. So that wasn't his favorite thing to do? Or he
Yeah,
made.
that was his favorite thing, wasn't mine.
Oh man, I love it. Well, I can tell that he really deposited a lot of positive attributes in you, gave you character and
Yeah, a
friendship,
whole lot of responsibility.
a lot of responsibilities. So you didn't have time to really sort of sneak around and get away with some things, right?
No,
I
not
like,
at all.
yeah. Well, do you think that is a part of the issue with today's kids? Because we see a lot of kids that are on the street, sort of
Hmm.
when you would be outside playing, your mom and dad was not that far away. But it seems like the kids today are on their own. Do you see?
Yeah, I definitely see that a lot, and I think it's more so because of the parents.
Mm,
Like a lot of kids around that age still have young parents, and with young parents, they still feel young. They still want to go out and do things, so their focus don't really be on their child no more.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
they just really be like, all right, get on your phone, leave me alone. Like
yeah,
nah,
yeah.
nah.
Wow. And
Gotta
yeah,
really
that's an
spend time.
important. Yeah. So what and the young people now what message do you have for them when it comes to how they navigate being a parent and being responsible when it comes to because grandparents are
Hmm.
raising
Right,
children again. So
exactly.
in a way we know that grandparents love to love the grandkids, but I think they love when they can send them back to the family.
Hmm.
So when you have to actually now raise them, how fair is that to have them to have to re-raise it? And we know there are circumstances where that's a necessity because of
Hmm.
all types of situations. But when it's just sort of an abuse of, the fact that they're there, what do you say
Right.
to the families and the young people like yourself who should rebalance that?
We just gotta understand that we can't be lazy with our kids. Like we had them. Like yes, I understand you want to go out and enjoy yourself every time, a good bit of times, but at the same time, don't abuse it. Just because you have it, don't mean you gotta use it all the time. And just really understand like they're your kids and not your parents' kids, and they really want to be around you more. And a lot of like you just gotta understand like kids just want quality time. They don't care about what you buy them. They don't care about none of that stuff really because they love you regardless. Because a
Yeah,
lot of people may think, okay, well I'm gonna buy you this and buy you that just to make sure you know I love you. But at the end of the day, they gonna play with it for a little while and throw it away and get rid of it. But as long as you there, they can't do that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
it's all about us just not being lazy and taking our own responsibilities.
I love that you said that because we do get lost into a lot of material things, and we see kids just looking like they've got like $1,000 worth of everything from the head to the toe, and they don't even know what it means.
And what you saying that had me think about prom.
Oh,
Like I always wonder now, like when did prom come so designer?
oh,
Like when I went to prom, I had none of that. And it's like, where are y'all getting the money from? Like, what's going on?
yeah. I'm really wondering. I think there's like this underground employment situation because I'm like you, where is this money coming from and who is sponsoring this? Because maybe they have
Exactly.
like who is paying for this? And
Right.
is it the girl asking the guy and why is he doing that? And if it is, why? What,
Right.
for the picture? I think what do they say? Do it for the gram, do it for the
Everything nowadays is image related.
yes. Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Wow.
Everything is about image, how you look, who has money, who don't.
Right.
Talk about the people who don't, so that make you want to get it. Like, it's how our world is. It's
Yeah. It's extreme. It's kind of a new level of keeping up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up with that, and it was just like, looking at them down the block. But now it's all over the world. It's on the internet, and
Right.
you're
That is all you see.
all you see, and you're gonna wear yourself out trying to keep up with the rest of the world. And not really paying attention to what's at home. And I think, a lot of what you said really speaks to, the foundation. What does it mean to you to really have a home and a foundation and something that your kids can grow up and appreciate?
Yeah, that's something that I really like. In the past few years, I really started paying attention to, because I can honestly say, with my first marriage, because I've been divorced now, I definitely see like I somewhat fell into that with the whole image and what y'all have and all that, and it's not beneficial at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm more so just going into the heart and what really matters, because all that other stuff don't matter at all.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you do realize that and how important is it? So you said you've been married, you've been divorced. How important is it in that relationship to have, like you said, I think earlier you said, having a conversation, communicating, you said.
Mm-hmm.
And how important is that when you are into something, a relationship, for the first year, second year? What year do you think you really start to get to know a person that you're with?
You really should get to know them in a year.
Okay.
For sure. Like having them straight conversations that you need to have in a year.
Yeah.
And then once you see them little certain things that you're not trying to deal with, them deal breakers, leave them alone.
I'll try to make it work, right?
Exactly. And I fell into that trap of trying to make it work.
Oh, did you? Oh. Yeah, I was going to say, because I know women, we kind of have a tendency to say, well, we'll take that. We'll make it work, or I'll change him. I can take him like it is.
Exactly.
So, and you fell into that too. So,
yeah.
So you've learned your a lot of valuable lessons through that. So, like you said, having that conversation in the beginning, right? That saves a lot of trouble.
And having the conversation and not ignoring it.
Okay.
A lot of times we do ignore it.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes you have the facts, but you just overlook it.
Exactly, because a lot of times you be ready for the relationship and ready to do that. So you deal with things you shouldn't deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So patience is definitely a virtue. I love it. Well, as we wrap up, I know that, again, Father's Day is coming, and in my little image behind me, I have the word legend. And so I know that as you are a dad and you're handling your family responsibilities, what is your hope for the future as you leave a legacy, for your kids? What is it you want them to, the first thing that you want them to recognize that they should remember about you as a dad and a father?
That I worked to put God first. I don't do it as much as I should, but it's all growth. Working to do that I'm here for people, not just myself. Everything that you do affects everybody around you, including me. And just knowing that Dad always loved you, Dad gonna love everybody. Don't think I'm better than nobody, because I have my problems like everybody else. And I really just, all you could do is actually just work hard, and continue to strive for what you want to do in your life.
Yeah. And, I know you mentioned your son likes to have his version of his grill size next to you. Do you all have time where you do sit and talk and pray and maybe just talk about, those things? I saw a little boy. The reason I asked that is I saw this little boy, his mom walked in the room, and he was sitting on the bed with his legs Indian style, and he was meditating, but she didn't know that. And so she said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Mom," and he had to be maybe like your kid, 5 or 6. And he's literally has his eyes closed and he's concentrating so hard. And he's telling her, I'm busy, I'm doing something. And so she said, okay, she could really feel like she was intruding. And then he was saying, could you turn the TV down, because I'm really concentrating here. And I just thought that was so beautiful, because, for him to have that focus or that desire, even at
Right.
that age, to want to sit and think about things. What does that mean? And what do you do with your little one that they actually would sit and think about things?
Yeah, because they pay attention to different things than we, expose them to. So they still paying attention to a lot that's going on too. And maybe we should be able to take it in and be like, okay, well, you're doing this. Let me see.
Yeah,
And just don't close the door on them, because we still can learn from them. Because I
absolutely.
learned a lot. I learned a lot from Drew.
Yeah.
Definitely learned a lot from him. He
Wow.
paid way more attention than I thought.
They have a lot of the why questions. Why?
Why everything? Why everything? Just
Yeah.
like earlier, I said, Daddy about to do an interview. You gotta get out. Why? I can't sit here and watch. No, you can't.
He said, why can't I be a part of it?
Right.
I love that because, it teaches boundaries, and they remember that growing up, and that there's not always the time for you to be in, as we learned, adult conversations, or
Right.
you to hear everything that is being discussed, because it's not always about you. But if it is, you don't need to hear it, because
Right.
you're not a part of the decision.
Exactly.
So I think that's awesome. Well, I love that you took the time to share. I'm so excited because I love to hear the perspective from men, and from young men like yourself, really growing up and appreciating, the past, their experience, and what you can share for the future. And so I do hope that we get to have another conversation where we can, get together again, and
Definitely.
tell everybody how they can, connect with you, and when they can check out your podcast.
Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, the THE Weak WEAK Lee LEE Podcast, and it's on YouTube. Just like and subscribe. Check out the videos. I'm sure y'all will enjoy it.
I love it. All right. Well, we'll definitely have that, so that everybody can check it out in the links in the description below. And of course, everybody, we want you to tune in for our next conversation. It's going to be another good one, because guess what? We're celebrating men. I know you didn't think we would get to that point, but we are celebrating men, and, not just for Father's Day, but for all the things that they do. And we want to definitely acknowledge, all of the great efforts and the great contributions that the men are making to this world, to our neighborhood, to families, to the church, to us. So if you know someone that needs to be recognized, shout it out to me, let me know, send me a DM. But like he said, like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure you don't miss the next conversation, so you know when it's coming. And till the next time, stay strong, be encouraged, and don't forget to keep letting your light shine, because it's bright, and you definitely need to let somebody know that you have a gift. So I'm Singinlisa, and this is Mr. Darren Lee from the WeakLee Podcast. So be sure and check us out the next time. Until then, take care and be blessed.